Hello everybody, and welcome back to British Stand. Of course, guys, I'm Dan, your host, and today we're going to be going through a suspected Islamist extremist tried to kill 5 prison officers, basically with homemade weapons, because they were not Muslim. Yes, you read that in the title. That comes from the Old Bailey, as they have gave a follow-up to this story. Akala Rahman, who is 38, is accused of attacks on staff at 2 high security prisons, and the reason for that was because they weren't Muslim. Yes, we're going to be diving into this story, guys, but as always, please do smash that like button and subscribe to the channel for more content like this and to keep up to date with breaking news stories from across the country. If you're watching this live, guys, as always, do get involved in the live chat. We'll get some conversation about it, and if you're watching this on a replay, do get involved in the comments, and as I do look at them and I like to interact with you all. So let's go through this story then, guys, and give you a bit of context around the situation. So this guy here, this thing here, should I say, a suspected Islamic extremist tried to kill 5 prison officers with homemade weapons, including a sharpened plastic spoon, because they are not Muslims, the Old Bailey has heard. Akala Rahman is accused of repeated attacks on staff at HMS Swaleside in Kent and high security South London and Belmarsh Jail in September and October 2022. Prosecutors Alistair Richardson told jurors this is a highly dangerous man, does not leave it to anybody else to work out what he is doing. He has repeatedly said that he wants to kill prison officers both before the attacks, at the time he attacks, and then afterwards. He wants to kill prison officers who he sees as kuffar. Basically, that is a derogatory term for non-Muslims. The court has heard Rahman has had a history of using improvised weapons to try and kill prison officers by stabbing at their heads and necks. He is currently on trial for 20 alleged offences, including 5 of attempted murder, 6 attempted assaults on an emergency worker, and possessing sharpened pieces of plastic. At the time of these alleged attacks, Rahman was serving a life sentence for 3 earlier attempted murders and wounding with intent to cause grievously bodily harm over incidents of violence at HMP Wayland, HMP Lincoln, and HMP Wakefield in the summer of 2017. On September 23, 2022, the defendant had been detained in the high security segregation unit at HMP Swaleside over concerns he was trying to radicalise other inmates to extreme versions of Islam, the court was told. He has been escorted to the shower when he allegedly punched an officer, Lee Lasman, in the face, shouted an Alan Snackbar, and stabbed Officer Ludovic Barberia in the forehead with a pen. As he was restrained, the defendant allegedly continued to shout, stamp, kick, and tried to bite officers, jurors were told. He went on to allegedly punch Officer Dale Marsden in the stomach and stamp on Officer Ross Greig's foot after they went to help their colleagues. The following day, Mr. Lasman carried out a welfare check and found Lasman standing naked in his cell, holding a 3-inch piece of sharpened plastic, jurors heard. During an attempt to retrieve the weapon, the defendant tried to stab the officer Simon Lohman in the neck, it was alleged. The day after, Rahman made a throat-cutting motion with an improvised weapon and shouted, "I'm going to put this in your eye," it is alleged. Rahman was moved to Belmarsh Prison, where he allegedly tried to kill prison officers Elizabeth Franklin, John Clark, and Robert Salter on October 23, 2022, the court was further told. The officers had gone into his cell to escort him to get his lunch when the defendant threw his bin at 2 of them and ran towards officers, Franklin shouting, "Death to kuffar," and stabbing at her head and neck. The defendant also cut the other 2 officers' necks amid attempts to restrain him, jurors were told. On being ordered to open his hands, the defendant was seen with the bottom of a plastic spoon that had been sharpened, the court also heard. A senior officer who ran to see what was going on allegedly heard Rahman shout, "I'll kill you all," die covert, while still holding a weapon in his hand. In a note to the defendant later explained he was angry with the prison established and had lost it and attacked prison officers who he felt were mocking him, jurors were told. In a police interview, Rahman said in a statement that he did not intend to kill anyone, that he had been trying to provoke the officers and that his mental health was deteriorating. Rahman denies all the charges against him and the trial is currently continuing. So this is a weird story, and the reason why I bring it up to you guys is because, well, this happened yesterday and we've got all of the information that was revealed last night with regard to this guy. But my question is that why is this guy in a prison and attacking all of these police officers due to them not being Muslim, and keeps on doing it, trying to quote-unquote kill them? However, there's people like Tommy Robinson in solitary confinement for his sort of crimes that he did. Again, civil offences, all these kind of things. But we've got a guy who's obviously a known extremist, or suspected it's extremist, that you've got to use this terminology, and you've just heard me rattled everything that the court heard over this trialing period. Over 5 years of this guy being in prison, trying to kill prison guards and actually attacking them with intent. However, on this trial now, as he's about to be sentenced, he's saying and denying all of these things actually took place, and said that his mental health is deteriorating despite him being this kind of character. It makes me think, why the hell are taxpayers having to fund this prison, or this prisoner? And again, I don't know his background. Is he actually from here? Can he not be deported? Can he not be put to his own country? And why the heck is this guy not in solitary confinement for the rest of his days? He's obviously, I don't think it's fair for police officers to have to deal with this, well, prison officers, sorry, to have to deal with this man every single day as he changes prison, and just attempting to kill people with homemade weapons that he's making in his cell, and intently trying to kill them because they are not of his religion. I just find this absolutely bonkers when I'm reading this. Now, I don't know the laws in this matter, and this, to be fair to this guy, he could have been born in this country and whatever, he might be a British citizen and all that sort of stuff, and may have been born here and all that kind of stuff. But for me, just reading that there and looking at the pure bias and the the two different tiers on the way that justice is given out is absolutely mental. Again, there's no record in here saying that this guy is in sort of solitary confinement. He's just kind of moving around prisons whenever he does something bad. When he attempts to kill other prison officers, whether they be emergency workers, he's then just put to another place and then attempts to do it again. This has happened over a 5-year period, which I find really, really freaking crazy. But yeah, this trial is currently ongoing. This was released by the Old Bailey last night. The sort of details of his crimes and what he's been doing. As I said, guys, these took place back in 2022, but we've only just been able to find out actually what has gone on with this guy, and we're prisoning him. But it seems as though it's almost like a ticking time bomb. You can sentence him for as long as you want. However, he's just going to keep on trying to do the same thing every single time he goes to another prison. So surely then that would create action to actually put him into another place where he can't put prison guards into danger. Now, it's all fun and games. Well, it's not all fun and games actually, but it's all fun and games in terms of until someone's actually killed, where you actually start to take notice, where there's loads of these attempted murders, and yes, he's going for a trial of this, but wait, when does it have to happen? When does there have to be a full stop to actually say, no, this guy has to be in literally a place on his own for the rest of his sort of life? Because he's obviously got something, a motive to try and carry out these heinous acts, already serving life sentences because of what he did on the streets anyway, and what he did out in the country anyway, but again, continues to attack and tries to quote unquote kill prison guards because they are not Muslim. Really, really mental story, genuinely. And of course, surprise, surprise there, whilst he's going through this trial, he's now sort of claiming that he has mental health issues and that, of course, his mental health is deteriorating, which is absolutely bonkers. It's crazy. And I can't believe the details that I just read there. Really, really mad. Guys, let's take some comments. All welcomed here with open arms, our wonderful politicians. Again, I don't know the context of this guy. Obviously, he's not got a British name. I mean, he could have been born here, so we don't have the right to necessarily deport him as such. Or again, I don't know if we do have the right to deport these people if they commit crimes. But they're continuing to commit crimes and put our prison guards, who are just doing their job, in further danger when you've got an absolute mental case of an extremist just cutting him out, doing whatever he wants in prison, trying to kill more people and cause more harm, which is just... It's just neglect from our sort of prison system that the prison guards are still being put into this place and having to deal with this absolute maniac. That's the thing I can't get over. There is no place like the UK, says Empty Child. You should only deport after the mandatory minimum 15 years. As usual, as peaceful as a pit bull on steroids, says the Saxon. Mental Mo, says Sean Sim. He should be in a high security prison. Again, yeah. It just makes me question everything. It makes me question everything when you've got people like Tommy Robertson currently, and I'm sure he's in a high security prison in solitary confinement. Whereas this guy's just jumping around. He's almost doing a prison tour. It's like he's like a band, a rock star or something like that, just going into different jails. As soon as he does something wrong, he just moves to the next one and carries out the same sort of heinous act. So I don't know what the remit is from this trial, already serving a life sentence. So we'll obviously get more added to him if he's found guilty of attempted murder on these other 5 prison guards. But still, when's enough enough? Is it a point when you get to a point where actually someone does get killed, where people start to really take notice and actually put this guy in cuffs to his legs and his arms so he can't cause harm to any other people? Because that list was so long of the crimes and the things that he's done inside prison on trying to kill prison guards due to their religion. Bonkers. But guys, do let me know your thoughts on this one down there in the comment section below. As stated, the Old Bailey did release that last night, so a fairly new story. Hit the like, hit the subscribe button, and I will see you all in the next live stream. Take care, look after yourselves, goodbye.